Fiat currency is the backbone of modern economies, yet few people truly understand what it is or how it works. Unlike commodity money, fiat currency holds value because of government decree, rather than being backed by physical assets like gold or silver. This type of currency relies on trust in the government's stability and the economic system it operates within. In this video, we'll explore the historical origins of fiat currency, how it evolved from ancient trade systems to its current role in the global economy, and the advantages and challenges it brings to our financial systems today. The concept of money before fiat currency. Before fiat currency, early civilizations relied on a barter system to facilitate trade. Goods and services were exchanged directly, but this method had significant limitations. For example, if a person wanted to trade wheat for cattle, both parties had to want what the other offered at the same time, a concept known as the double coincidence of wants. This system was inefficient and often complicated larger trades. To solve these issues, societies began using commodity money, such as gold, silver, or salt, which had intrinsic value. These commodities were accepted universally and could be stored for later use. Precious metals like gold and silver became widely used because they were durable, divisible, and portable, making them ideal for trade. However, commodity-based currencies also posed challenges. Transporting large amounts of gold or silver was cumbersome, and these commodities were subject to fluctuations in value due to changes in supply. Additionally, dividing some commodities into smaller units wasn't always practical. As trade expanded, these limitations led to the need for a more convenient form of currency, eventually setting the stage for the emergence of paper money. The emergence of paper money. The world's first use of paper money originated in China during the Tang and Song dynasties, 7th–11th century. Faced with the inconvenience of carrying heavy metal coins, Chinese merchants began using promissory notes that were backed by deposits of gold or silver. The government eventually adopted this practice, issuing the first official paper currency. Initially, this paper money functioned as representative money, meaning it could be exchanged for a specific amount of gold or other commodities. This system maintained the stability of the currency since it was still tied to a valuable asset. The introduction of paper money revolutionized trade by making it easier to transport and use large sums of money. It also allowed governments to issue more currency, expanding trade networks and economies. However, the reliance on physical backing would later diminish as economies became more complex, leading to the development of the modern fiat currency system. The gold standard era. The gold standard was a monetary system in which a country's currency was directly tied to a specific amount of gold. Under this system, governments guaranteed that their currency could be exchanged for a fixed quantity of gold, which provided a stable basis for the value of money. Many nations adopted the gold standard during the 19th century as it helped create consistency and reliability in international trade, encouraging economic stability. The rise of the gold standard played a critical role in fostering global trade and investment during the 19th and early 20th centuries. By establishing a fixed exchange rate between currencies and gold, countries were able to trade more easily, knowing that the value of their currency was stable. However, the gold standard had significant limitations. One of the primary drawbacks was that it restricted governments from printing more money unless they had enough gold reserves to back it. This limited economic growth as countries were bound by the amount of gold they could access, making it difficult to respond to economic crises or expansions. The decline of the gold standard began during the World Wars, when nations needed to print more money to finance war efforts, leading to inflation and straining the system. By the mid-20th century, the gold standard was abandoned as economies transitioned to more flexible systems. The transition to fiat currency. The shift away from the gold standard occurred due to global economic pressures, particularly during and after World War II. Governments needed more flexibility in managing their economies, especially when it came to printing money and controlling inflation. The Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944 marked a pivotal moment, establishing the US dollar as the world's reserve currency, while still partially backed by gold. This agreement aimed to stabilize global currencies post-war and foster international trade. However, by 1971, the Bretton Woods system faced increasing strain due to growing U.S. debt and a shortage of gold reserves. In a decisive move, U.S. President Richard Nixon ended the dollar's convertibility to gold, effectively abandoning the gold standard. This marked the full transition to a fiat currency system where money was no longer backed by a physical commodity, but instead derived its value from government backing and public trust. What is fiat currency? Fiat currency is government-issued money that holds value because the government maintains it and the public trusts it. Unlike commodity money, fiat currency is not backed by a physical asset such as gold or silver. Instead, its value is derived from the trust that people have in the stability of the government and the economy that issues it. Fiat money has no intrinsic value. A dollar or euro, for example, is simply a piece of paper or a number on a digital screen. Its worth comes entirely from its acceptance as legal tender for goods and services. The value of fiat currency depends on trust and stability. If people lose faith in a government's ability to maintain economic stability, the currency can quickly lose its value, as seen in cases of hyperinflation. Central banks play a critical role in managing fiat currencies by controlling money supply and ensuring public confidence through stable monetary policies. Advantages of fiat currency. One key advantage of fiat currency is its flexibility. Governments and central banks can adjust the supply of money based on economic needs, allowing them to combat inflation or deflation. By increasing or decreasing the money supply, central banks can stimulate economic growth during downturns or slow it during periods of excessive inflation. This flexibility allows countries to adopt more expansive economic policies compared to commodity-backed currencies, which are constrained by the amount of physical assets like gold. Central banks, such as the Federal Reserve in the U.S., play a crucial role in managing fiat currency by setting interest rates and using monetary policy to control inflation and stabilize the economy. They use tools like open market operations, adjusting interest rates and setting reserve requirements to keep the economy balanced. This adaptability in policy fosters economic growth, as governments are not limited by finite resources like gold reserves. They can focus on responding to dynamic economic conditions, issuing more currency when necessary to fuel investment and growth, or tightening supply to curb inflationary pressures. Disadvantages and risks of fiat currency. While fiat currency provides flexibility, it also comes with significant risks, particularly inflation. Governments that print too much money can cause hyperinflation, drastically reducing the purchasing power of the currency. A notable example is Zimbabwe, where excessive money printing led to hyperinflation, making the currency almost worthless. Similarly, Weimar Germany experienced hyperinflation in the early 20th century, where basic goods became unaffordable. Fiat currencies are also vulnerable to loss of value during economic crises. If people lose trust in the government or central banks' ability to manage the currency, it can lead to a rapid decline in value. This loss of confidence often triggers inflation or currency depreciation, leading to further economic instability. Additionally, the ability to print more money makes it easier for governments to accumulate excessive debt. While printing more money can provide short-term solutions, it can create long-term economic problems if governments fail to manage their borrowing. The accumulation of debt can ultimately destabilize the currency, leading to inflation and eroding public confidence. Today, fiat currency dominates the global economy, with nearly all nations using it as their standard form of money. Major currencies like the US dollar, euro, and Japanese yen are all fiat currencies widely accepted in international trade and finance. What are your thoughts on fiat currency? Do you think it's the best system, or do you see cryptocurrency as a viable alternative? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos on economics and financial systems, where we explore the future of money and finance.